Hello, I'm Sunita Yeomans. I have my own very little design agency called SSHY Creative, and we do artisan graphic design.
Hello, I'm Kate Shaw. I've been a creative director for over 20 years now, and we've been enjoying reviewing some of the entries for the Brand Impact Awards.
It feels to me, whenever I hear that word, I feel like I've just heard it a million times before. I've heard it so many times, and actually I think authenticity, as Kate was saying earlier, it's about storytelling. And actually there are so many brands now that do storytelling, that storytelling's kind of been done to death and everyone uses it. So brands these days, they've got to search for something that's kind of above and beyond that, and it's really, really difficult. I think it's a tough time for brands these days.
I think they have to be authentic. They have to behave in an authentic way and believe in their stories, and just really, because I think consumers are so savvy now, they can see beyond the kind of looking authentic or sounding a little bit authentic. They have to really totally be authentic and believe in it themselves.
And actually that's such a good point, because actually there's a load of brands that have kind of popped up and they're just making up their story. So they do a whole backstory about you know how the product emerged, and you know, I came up with this brilliant idea in my garden shed, and it's all totally made up. So you're absolutely right. It's about being truthful, but you know, is it a bit boring these days?
Yeah, and rather claiming that you're being authentic, just as I say, just be authentic. And the consumers will pick that up, I think.
Yeah.
I would say they're not used enough, and I don't think they should be limited to any particular sector. But I think layers of all of those things would be used to an advantage now. There's so much, as I keep shouting at the entries, sans serif type and blocks of graphic colour. There's a real lack of beauty and detail and craftsmanship across the board. So I think it just should be used more in every sector.
And I think I just totally agree with that, because I think you could kind of, when you first asked the question, I was thinking, well, you could just pick out the beauty industry or the hotel industry or all of those kind of cultural service providers, but actually that's a bit too predictable to do that. And Kate's right, that if you just take it out into every sector and do something that is beautiful and inspiring in the financial sector, you know, it doesn't have to be dull and dreary and corporate, you know, just play with that kind of creativity. I think that's
you'll stand out all the more for it, I think, because I think human beings by nature are drawn to beautiful, exquisite detail. It doesn't have to be girly, you know, it could just be really well crafted, I think.
Yeah. I think my gut feeling on that would be not to... Collaboration is absolutely fantastic, so go forth and collaborate, but don't then, as a designer, become so reliant on the illustrator or the photographer that you forget the importance of the design that's holding everything together. Because I think that's a risk that someone commissions an amazing illustration and they think that's it, job done, because there's a beautiful illustration, and actually that's only part of it.
I completely agree with that, because I think a brand identity has to be underpinned with something very solid that then gives you the flex to collaborate with any number of illustrators and artists, but it shouldn't be the identity, it shouldn't be the whole.
Yeah,
I would agree.